You can just put the bag of hash browns in the fridge and let them thaw. I also have my oven preheating to 400 degrees. So we're just gonna season these hash browns. I have some paprika. We're gonna add a teaspoon of this. You could use smoked paprika as well. Then we have onion powder. We're gonna add a teaspoon of this. And of course garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of this as well. And then we will just add some salt to taste. You can always add more salt after they're cooked as well, but you just want to add a little bit for flavor. So just mix all of that up. And then all we're gonna do is add in our vegetables. So here I have some red bell pepper, onion, half of a zucchini chopped up really well, and then some mushrooms. And you can add whatever kind of veggies you want. This is about a pound of vegetables, so I like to have a pound of vegetables either at breakfast or lunch, and that just helps to keep me really full and satisfied throughout the day. So we're just gonna mix this together. And you'll want to use a really big bowl for this because obviously this is like a ton of food, but it will cook down quite a bit. Now we can just pour this onto a pan. You might have seen in some of my other videos, I do this sometimes in a Cuisinart griddler or like a George Foreman. You can do that, it's just harder to cook this amount. You have to cook kind of like half the amount. So I mean I eat a lot of food, and that's what helps me stay so slim, is just being like really full on low calorie density food. And sometimes I just can't fit enough in the air fryer or in the George Foreman. So we're just gonna put this in the oven on 400 for about 20 minutes. I'll actually say 20 to 40 minutes because I like it to be very crispy on top. It just depends how you like to have it cooked. So you might want to just keep an eye on it. Some people don't like their hash browns really crispy. All right, here are our hash browns. So I left these in for about 40 minutes. They're pretty crispy, but you can, if you're in a rush, like if you have to go to work, I would just cook these the night before and then just heat them up in the morning. So I'm just gonna transfer this to a plate. And this recipe has so many vegetables in it, like you don't have to worry about eating it with extra veggies. I mean, you always can eat extra vegetables if you want to, but there's a pound of vegetables in this recipe right here. And then all I'm gonna do is just top this with a little bit of ketchup. I just tasted it a little bit and I think it needs just a little bit more salt. So I'm also just gonna add a little bit more salt. And that is it. Hey guys, so for lunch today we're gonna be making chili cheese fries. And the first thing that we're gonna do is chop up some potatoes. So I have these potatoes. This one has sprouted a little bit, but I usually just cut that off. I know some people will like throw them away, but as long as they're not green on the inside, they're totally fine. So I just cut the little eyes off, or any like parts like this that just aren't perfect. So we're just gonna cut these into fry shapes. When you're doing this, you just want to make them as uniform as possible, just so they all cook at the same rate. So we're just gonna throw these into a big bowl. So all I'm gonna add to this is some garlic salt. Let's toss this. And then I'm just gonna put these in my air fryer, spread them out, and we're gonna cook these on 350 degrees for about 20 minutes. And you'll see at the end how crispy they get. All right, our fries are done. So all we're gonna do here is I have some leftover chili. If you guys saw my meal plan number 12, we made sweet potato, rice, and chili bowls. Sorry, my dog is like making so much noise. And when I made that chili, I actually froze half the batch. So that's like a really good life hack right there. If you make a lot of something, especially chili or something that's bean rich, like black bean soup, it freezes really well. I wouldn't freeze like potato soup or something like that. It's not gonna reheat well. So we're gonna add the chili on top of here. We'll just use all of this. This is about 2 cups of chili, and I'll leave the link to this recipe down below as well. And then I also have pre-made some cheese sauce. So this recipe is on my website. It's really easy to make. I recommend making it and trying it out. So we're just gonna add this on top. I think we need more. And you can add as much of this as you want. Like, go crazy. And then just because I like everything spicy, I'm also gonna add some hot sauce on here. And this just makes a really easy, super delicious, low-fat lunch. I mean, who honestly doesn't love chili cheese fries, right? Look at this. For dinner tonight, we're gonna make my favorite recipe that I have ever come up with in my life. And I'm not even joking when I say this. I eat this every single week. You may have seen this recipe before. You may have made the old version that I had on my website. I have updated it because I've made it better and better as I've eaten it so much. So we're gonna make it that way today. This is my go-to way. And that is my potato soup, if you're wondering what the recipe is called. So here I have 4 russet potatoes. You can use yellow potatoes or red potatoes, it does not matter. I've made it with all different kinds. I have half of a white onion chopped up and then 2 carrots chopped up. So we're just gonna add this into our Instant Pot. This is a new addition, but I've been adding a can of chickpeas into here. So we're just gonna rinse and drain these really quick. All right, we'll just pop these in. And then the last ingredient that we need right now is 3 cups of water. Actually, I forgot, we're also gonna add in a teaspoon of Better Than Bouillon right now. And just mix that up. So all we're gonna do next is put the lid on, cook it on high pressure for 5 minutes, and let it just naturally release. All right, so the base of our soup is done. I just like to lightly blend it up. It just makes it a lot thicker. Now you don't wanna like blend the whole thing up, but just a little bit. Now we're gonna add in a bunch of kale. This is about half of a head that I just chopped up. You just don't wanna put it in the soup when it's cooking because it will just get way too overcooked. But the soup's nice and hot, so it will actually just wilt the kale and make it really nice. Next, we're gonna add in the juice of half a lemon. Also have 1 cup of soy milk. This is optional. I really like it. It makes it nice and creamy. But you obviously don't have to add this. There isn't really a great substitution. Like, I wouldn't say if you don't want to add soy milk to add almond milk or anything. I think it would just taste kind of weird. So if you don't want soy milk or you're allergic to soy, just leave it out. Then we're gonna add in some garlic powder. Add in a teaspoon of spicy brown mustard. Seems like a weird ingredient, but it gives it a really good flavor, like a tangy flavor. Gonna add in a tablespoon of dill. And then 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. So depending on how thick or thin you like your soups, this will thicken once it cools down a bit. I like it thinned out kind of like this because I always eat it over rice and I feel like the rice gives it a really good texture. So I'm gonna have this over a bowl of rice for dinner. I feel like with soups also, you don't have to get really crazy with the eat a side of vegetables with it, just because there are so many vegetables in the soup already that I just don't feel like you really need to worry about it. Unless you're having a really hard time losing like the last 10 pounds, you could definitely eat this with a side of veggies. But soups are so low in calorie density because I know everyone says that vegetables are lowest in calorie density, but lower than that is water. And if you add a lot of water to your food, you're really diluting the calorie density of your food and filling yourself up with just the bulk of the water. I hope you guys try this recipe out. It is my all-time favorite, and if you do, let me know what you think down in the comments. So that is it for today's video. I hope this was helpful for you guys. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the description box down below. I will, as always, leave all of the recipes and ingredients and everything like that down below for you guys as well, either in a link or just a written out recipe so that you have access to it. And if you're not